Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Tuesday, July 23rd edition of the MMAOB Daily podcast. I'm your host, as always, Adam Martin. Going to be taking you guys through the latest in the world of mixed martial arts. First and foremost, guys, follow me on Twitter at MMAdamMartin. This podcast, of course, is available at MMAOddsbreaker.com. Please go to our YouTube channel, subscribe, like, share, all that stuff. Also, check out our Facebook page if you can, too, as well, guys. Subscribe there, like it, please. Also check me out at bjpen.com, MMAnews.com, and MMARings.net. I did not mention Sherdog because I'm no longer part of Sherdog. My last article went up there today. It was my decision to leave. Nothing but the best for those guys. I wish them nothing but the best. You know, I enjoyed I worked there for about a year. I wanted to address this right away because I know some people are going to ask about it. It was my decision to leave. I felt like I was being a little bit overworked there with the play-by-play. And that's the honest to God truth, guys. So, nothing but the best for those guys. I wish no ill will towards anyone there. Some of the stuff that was said about me on my exit wasn't exactly nice, but that's okay. No worries. I have no problem with anyone there. I appreciate those guys for giving me the opportunity. It was a pleasure to work for Sherdog. So, even if, the feelings aren't mutual, I still appreciate the opportunity. I just wanted to address that right now in case anyone asked. It was my decision to leave, and that's it. So I'm looking forward to really just taking a step forward at bjpen.com, another step forward at MMAOddsbreaker.com, and just with this podcast, guys, I have a lot of stuff on the go right now, and for me, there's always other opportunities to come and knock. In this business, things happen that you don't expect, and things happen that you do expect. So with the punches, just like the fighters do, and I'm not worried about it. And again, I just want to thank those guys for the opportunity. It was a great year working for that website, Sherdog, but I'm no longer part of that. And I will no longer obviously be talking about that website and plugging my articles on this podcast anymore because I'm not part of the website. So that's okay. I'm glad to be here with MMAOddsbreaker.com. I really appreciate working for Nick Kalikas. I had a good chat with him last night. Nothing but respect for Nick. Nick, right into today. I'm going to talk about UFC, Dana White's Contender Series. I should say that's tonight. That would be at, obviously, the UFC Apex in Las Vegas. The odds actually opened last night, and I'll break them down right now. So I posted my opening odds preview. You can check that out, of course, at MMAOddsbreaker.com. I'm going to go right through the fights quickly. First up, featherweight bout between Terrence McKinney and Sean Woodson. Actually, this is the main event. I'll go from the top to the bottom. Only 5 fights, of course. Featherweight bout between Terrence McKinney and Sean Woodson. Terrence McKinney, 7-1 record. He opened at -275. Sean Woodson, 5-0 record, opened at +235. So McKinney's 24 years old, been fighting as a pro since 2017. All 7 of his wins by stoppage. He has lost once, but it was due to a leg injury. He's a teammate of Michael Chiesa at Sick Jitsu, so he comes from a good camp. And then you have Woodson here. He's 27. He's been fighting as a pro since 2016. Started his career in RFA and then moved to Shamrock FC, where he's been fighting since. He's been winning his fights, but the last 3 have come by decision against low-ranked opponents, which definitely worries me because when you're fighting guys at such a low level, you got to finish them. You can see why McKinney, I think, is such a big favorite here. He's fought better guys. He's been finishing them. He should win this fight. So Terrence McKinney -275. That would be my pick in this fight. Just like the betting odds suggest. Next up, we have middleweight bout between Ramazan Kuramagomedov and Jordan Williams. Kuramagomedov, he's 5-0. He opened at -450, and Williams opened at +350. I should mention that. Kuramagomedov. Oh, that's a mouthful. He's undefeated, like I said. He's been fighting in ACB and PFL. So actually, he fought in last season's PFL, won his fight, and then I guess wasn't invited back for whatever reason. But I think this is probably a better opportunity in some ways. Maybe not in some ways because $1 million, but he could get a chance to fight in the UFC. And then you have Williams here, 28 years old. He's won 3 straight fights, including 2 straight knockout wins in Bellator. So he actually has some decent experience fighting for Bellator. His last loss was actually to Dwight Smith, who's currently in the UFC roster. He got knocked out by him. He actually is a finisher, but his level of competition has been low. Of course, just the guy's last name alone, Kuramagomedov, like you think he's going to win, right? So he's -450. I mean, would I lay that on this guy? Probably not because I don't know enough about him, but it seems kind of fair to say that that's probably why he's the favorite just based on his last name alone. An undefeated pedigree, of course, and Williams has lost a couple times. So you can see why he's such a big favorite, but I mean, I don't know if I'd lay -450 on a guy that is making, well, he's not even making his UFC debut. He's in the Contender Series. I don't know if it's worth it. Next up, we have lightweight bout between JJ Okanovic and Christian Losin. Okanovic -130, Losin -110. Okanovic, 28 years old, has won 6 straight fights since making his debut back in 2015. Since losing his debut, I should say. His last 4 wins are actually called Bellator, so that's pretty good. And then he's a member of AKA, so he hasn't fought in over a year, which is something to know him. Losin, 24 years old, he's won his last 3 fights by submission. He's been fighting in island fights. Both guys definitely are solid prospects based on what I've seen, but they're low-level guys, so who knows how they're going to perform against each other. This fight is basically a pick-em with Okanovic -130, Losin -110. I think the fact that Okanovic trained to AKA is probably why he opened as a small favorite here, if I had to guess. I think the line's probably going to hold steady here. There doesn't seem to be a clear winner or loser, just based on what you can see. I guess Okanovic, but really, I mean, it's not something I'm super confident in either way. Next up, Popic, Hill opened at -240. Popic opened at +205. So Hill, 28 years old. He's won all 5 of his pro fighter. Daquan Townsend, that guy just lost to Deunga the UFC in Minneapolis card. I took a fight on short notice. So still, though, that's a decent win for Hill. I mean, that guy is in the UFC now, so it's not a bad win by any means. It's decent. And then you have Popic, 27 years old. He's actually a German fighter. 4 fights, which definitely concerns me. He won his last fight by split decision at Titan FC, but a couple of fights ago, he was actually submitted by Rob Wilkinson, who actually had a cup of coffee in the UFC, fought Tiara Bahadur and Israel Adesanya, lost both those fights. So definitely, I think Hill makes sense to be as a favorite here because he's undefeated, and this other guy's lost 2 of the last 4 fights. It's a light heavyweight bout. Who knows? We've seen a couple upsets already in light heavyweight bouts on the Contender series, so there could be one here, but I would assume Hill wins. And I do like that win over Townsend, even though, again, he just got knocked out himself. That this guy can hang with guys at the bottom of that division. So definitely, I think Hill wins this fight. And finally, we have another, actually, this is a featherweight bout between Camila Kirk and Billy Karen Tilo. Kirk opened at -225 and Karen Tilo opened at +190. So Kirk is 9-2 and he's 25 years old. He's actually won 3 straight fights, including submission win over Kevin Crewman at LFA in his last fight, which is actually a pretty good win, I think. Karen Tilo, 30 years old. He's on a 4-fight win streak. He actually has a couple notable wins, including one over a former UFC fighter, Mark Stevens. He was a member of The Ultimate Fighter Season 22. He lost to Saul Rogers on the show. I do like that experience, though. You know, I think this could be an upset here, personally. +190 on Karen Tilo. I think there could be some value there. Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? I mean, again, these guys they're such low-level fighters for the most part, and they haven't fought at that level, and they haven't fought in the bright lights for the most part. But this guy kind of has, and he fought in the Ultimate Fighter. So, to me, I think there's a little bit of value in this guy. I mean, again, there's usually one upside a card. It seems like on the show, you kind of have to figure out which one it is. I would guess it'd be Karen Tilo, but we'll see what happens. I could be completely wrong. Who knows? That'd be kind of my guess, though. I wouldn't lay juice. I'd rather take a shot on the dog. That's basically what I'm going to say. So, should be a good card tonight, guys. Last week's card was really good, so definitely check it out. It should be a fun one. I'm looking forward to it. All right, let's get to the news now. Jon Jones has obviously been in the news lately. We all know that. So yesterday, basically, he just said he's not in trouble. I don't think he denied it necessarily, the incident at the strip club, but he said he's not in trouble. But we do have some new details that emerged. TMZ had the story saying that, well, you can just read the story yourself. It's kind of like gross, but I don't know. This incident's not very good. The waitress said that he touched her inappropriately, obviously, and he was charged with battery, of course. He says he's not in trouble. His team is denying this ever took place. I really don't know what to say about this. We don't have enough facts. We don't have enough details. I have to mention it because it's obviously a big story now. It feels like everyone wants Jon Jones to be at fault here, and people like seeing Jon Jones' downfall. It is what it is. I mean, the guy's screwed up many times, but I said this yesterday. I think every incident for these guys are isolated. You can't really, or anyone really, you can't just be like, oh, well, this guy did this in the past, so he definitely needs to go do this. Everything's isolated. So it's kind of a strange incident. It kind of seemed out of character a little bit, but at the same time, it could also happen. I really don't know. So we'll have to wait to see the more details on it. But it seems like people are either taking the side of Jon Jones or the side that he's guilty here. And I'm kind of in the middle, guys, to be honest with you. Like, I love watching Jon Jones as a fighter. As far as him as a person, it doesn't really concern me either way. So for me, it's like I don't hope for this guy being in trouble or not. I just hope that the woman in this case, I hope she's okay, because apparently he put her in a chokehold. That's what the article alleges, that he put her in a chokehold and touched her inappropriately. So it's kind of bad, but again, it's really bad actually. But again, we don't have enough facts, so keep watching the show, guys. As soon as new details for this come out, I'll obviously talk about it. But for now, I don't feel like we have enough to really go on. Dana White was on TMZ again as well. He was talking some smack about Chris Cyborg. He basically said Chris Cyborg is afraid to lose again, which is interesting because she obviously just lost, and she's one of the best fighters of all time, especially the women's weight classes. It feels like it's just a negotiation tactic by Dana. He keeps saying she doesn't want to fight Nunes again, but then you ask Cyborg, so who knows who to believe here? Dana White's lied a lot of times about stuff. Cyborg, obviously, she's a free agent after this deal, so it's kind of good for her to keep her cards close to her vest. I really don't know what's going to happen, guys. With this, I do hope we see the rematch, but at the same time, if Felicia Spencer goes and beats Cyborg this weekend, we might not even have the opportunity for that, because Spencer would obviously get the rematch with me. So we'll see what happens with that fight. We'll know a lot more about this after Saturday night when the fight's over. But for now, Dana White's out there talking smack about Cyborg. What else is new? Announcements go. There were a couple ones, guys. Definitely something to know here. All right, so the first Adesanya fight that's been rumored for a while, that's official for UFC 243, as we know. It is official in Melbourne, and people are going to forget that Ralph Mariano, I believe, Kambachi broke the news like over a month ago. I remember writing the article for BJ Penn. So this news actually is kind of old, but it took a while to confirm. So good for you, man. The guy Kambachi, that guy's always breaking news, man. He's breaking great news, and he got it way before the other outlets did. So yes, it wasn't official before, but he had some sort of inside tip there, and that guy breaks a lot of news. So good for him. And yes, the fight's going to take place in Melbourne on October 6th, Australia. I believe it's October 5 in North America. So that should be a great fight. I can't wait for that fight. But the actual fights that were announced, new ones. All right, let's go. UFC China, Movsar Evloev versus Mike Grundy. So let's look at these guys here. Movsar Evloev. My computer here. That's not good. Come on. Can you guys still hear me? I hope so. I'm kind of having some computer issues here. Okay, no worries. I'll fight in Bellator. That should be an interesting one. Bellator 227, Benson Henderson versus Madaerji. So Benson Henderson, it's actually won 3 straight fights, which is interesting because he kind of opened his Bellator career with a couple losses there. Now he's winning some fights, so good for him. Takes on Madaerji, who obviously is coming off 2 straight losses in the UFC. That's not good for Jury, of course. But he did sign with Bellator, so good for him. I don't know. Like, Benson has definitely been disappointing in his career. My internet's not working again now. It's good. Benson's been disappointing in his career, but still, he's coming off 3 straight wins in Bellator, so that's good. Went over Adam Piccolotti by split decision. Unanimous decision win over Sadawad and Roger Huerta by guillotine. He also beat Triple by leg injury, but still, that's a big win on his resume right now. And I should say he's been disappointing in Bellator because he's only 4-3 overall. He started his career winning versus, like I mentioned, coming off 2 straight losses to Chad Mendez and Andre Fili, just 2-4 in his last 6 fights. He can still put it together. I'm not completely writing off Madaerji just yet, but I think you have to fear Benson in this fight just based on the fact he's on a win streak and based on the fact he's a former champion in the UFC. Okay, so I think, yeah, I can glue these guys now. Good. I don't know what happened there before, guys. Sorry about that. All right, so Movsar Evloev. It's kind of a tough one to pronounce too. 11-0, 25 years old. He's just coming off a win over Sungwoo Choi in the UFC. Great win for him in his debut. Guy's definitely a good prospect. M1 veteran, perfect in his career. The guy's good. And takes on Mike Grundy, who had a great UFC debut. Knocked out, I believe, Nadner Mon. Just double checking that, but I'm pretty for what we've seen. Yes, he's 12-1, knocked out Nadner Ronnie. He's actually on a 9-fight win streak, so he's definitely a good fighter here. A lot of submissions, but showed some knockout power last fight. So I still think you have to go with Evloev, but man, it's definitely an interesting fight to see because Grundy looked really good in his debut, and people were kind of counting him out of that fight. So definitely, I'm looking forward to seeing that one. Next up, Andre Soukhamthath and Madaerji. I may have talked about this one. I can't remember now. I think I might have, like, in the past, but I saw this on Marcel's page, so I'm going to bring it up again. 13-7 record for Soukhamthath, just 2-4 in the UFC, coming off a loss to Montel Jackson. Clearly has to win this fight to stay in the UFC. Just has been a disappointment throughout his career in the octagon. Just never really put together. And then his opponent, just pulling him out here. To Madaerji. I think he fought what's his name? Lewis Smolka, right? Pretty sure. Or you're supposed to find him or something. Internet's really slow this morning. Yeah, he fought Lewis Smolka. That's right. Yeah. So he's actually lost 2 straight fights by submission. So the guy's more a knockout artist. He's fought a lot of the level guys in Asia, knocked most of them out, but again, lost to Lewis Smolka in his last fight. I don't know. This is definitely a fight that could go either way. I think this guy's 23, definitely more upside with him, but Soukhamthath definitely has the experience. Could go either way. I got to think about it more, but that's going to be in that UFC China card later in August, and that card again is like 3 in the morning. So hey, I'm glad I don't have to do the play-by-play for that one, guys. I don't think I want to get up at 2:45 to write 5,000 words. That would have been pretty tough. But anyways, next up, last one I want to talk about here. Bantamweight bout UFC 158, UFC Fight Night 158, I should say. Cole Smith against Myles Jones. Really, really good fight here. Myles Jones coming off that Contender Series win. Looked great on the Contender Series. Looked fantastic. What's his record here? His record is 9-0, and he's coming off a great win over Richie Santiago in Contender Series. Perfect. His Smith has also looked good lately. 7-0, coming off a win over Mitch Gagnon, I believe. Yep, Mitch Gagnon by decision. Undefeated in his career. He'll be fighting in his home province of BC. So that's interesting. I don't know. Tough one to call. I mean, Myles Jones looked great, but Cole Smith looked pretty good too, man. He's fighting close to home. So I wouldn't completely count Cole Smith. I definitely think Jones will be a big favorite in this fight. I mean, everyone likes this guy, but don't count on Smith. I think he's actually better than a lot of us think. So my pick would be Jones, but I think Smith has a better chance than some people are going to think, just based on the fact that this guy is a scrappy dude and he's fighting close to home. So don't completely write him off here. Anyways, guys, that's all I wanted to say today. I think that's it for the news and for the podcast. I'm actually headed out to a funeral right now. My mind is not 100% on MMA at the moment, so it's unfortunate, but got to get to this funeral. I will be doing the breakdown for UFC 240 later today with Cole Shelton at probably in the afternoon sometime. I have to see how today plays out, but not the greatest day, but you know, we all have to do things that we have to do, right? So it's unfortunate what happened, but with actually my girlfriend's family, but still definitely sad stuff. But you know, I'm not a huge fan of funerals. As you know, my grandmother died earlier this year. I was at a funeral for her as well, so that was definitely not one of my favorite days of the year. It's been kind of a tough year, but there's been a lot of good things happening too, guys, and I continue to plug along. Continue to roll with the punches, guys. You know, again, things come up in this industry, and you expect them or you don't. So again, I appreciate you guys checking me out. You know, I've been doing this podcast, I think now for like 3 months, or 2 months, I should say. And it's been going pretty well, I think. So I appreciate you guys tuning in every day. I love talking about the sport. I love talking about MMA, and I appreciate the love and support and the respect. So I really do appreciate that, guys. Let me plug my stuff here quickly and get out of here. At Twitter, at MMAOB, on Twitter, at MMAOB Martin, excuse me. Small hiatus there, I believe, in 2016, but I've been pretty much a steady factor there, man, for 7 years now. And, you know, nothing but respect for my boss, Nick Kalikas. Like I said, that guy he's the best, man. Nick is really the best guy. Awesome guy. And you know, Nick, I appreciate you letting me do the show, man. So I just want to give him a shout out. But of course, the podcast, please, guys, go like, share, and subscribe on our YouTube channel. We're trying to build those YouTube numbers, trying to build that Facebook number. You know, the better the numbers, you know, the more content we can provide for you guys, and the more people we can bring on staff. So definitely helps out either way. But again, guys, I really appreciate you tuning in to the podcast. Again, I'm gonna heading out to a funeral right now. I'll be back later this afternoon. I will be doing the podcast with Cole Sheldon breaking down UFC 240. But until then, have a great day, guys. I will talk to you soon, and have a great day.